He sat at the table nervously, clutching the single rose he'd managed to buy with the few dollars left from his week's wages. The restaurant smelled of roasted garlic and luxury, a place far beyond his usual greasy diner hangouts. His name was Ethan Cole, a struggling mechanic from the poorer side of town who'd agreed to a blind date his friend had set up online. He didn't expect much. Maybe just a chance to laugh, maybe a friend. But fate, as it often does, had a cruel sense of humor that night. As he looked around for his supposed date, a woman named Sophie, according to the app, he saw a beautiful young woman sitting alone near the window. She was dressed simply, her hair tied back, a soft scarf draped over her shoulders. There was something calm and fragile about her, a grace that didn't belong to this noisy, expensive world. She was staring out the window, her fingers tapping rhythmically against the edge of her wheelchair. Ethan's heart sank for a moment. She looked too perfect to be the woman who'd agree to meet a man like him. But when she turned slightly, scanning the room with eyes that seemed to be waiting for someone, his courage faltered. "Go on, man," he whispered to himself. "It's just dinner." He walked toward her, nervous, palms sweating, his rose trembling slightly. "Hi, Sophie," he said with a shaky smile. She looked up, and for a heartbeat, he forgot how to breathe. Her eyes were soft but sharp, like they could see into him. "Hi," she said with a faint smile. "You must be Ethan." That's when everything went wrong, because this wasn't his date. Somewhere, just a few tables away, his Sophie, the one from the dating app, was waiting for him, checking her phone impatiently, messaging him, "I'm here, where are you?" But Ethan never saw that. He was already sitting down, laughing nervously, trying to act like he belonged here. And across from him sat Clara Windsor, the only daughter of Richard Windsor, the CEO of the massive Windsor Automotive Company, the very company Ethan's small repair shop often struggled to get parts from. She had been paralyzed in a car accident 2 years ago, an accident that had not only taken her ability to walk, but had also shattered her confidence. Tonight was supposed to be her first attempt to socialize again, arranged by her overprotective father, but the man she was supposed to meet, a polished executive, hadn't shown up yet. So when Ethan sat down, she assumed her date was simply early. For the next half hour, the universe forgot to correct their mistake. They talked, awkwardly at first, then easily. Ethan spoke with unfiltered honesty about fixing cars and living paycheck to paycheck, about how life sometimes breaks down like an old engine, but you fix it anyway, because giving up means walking home in the rain. Clara laughed for the first time in months. She told him about the accident, about how she hated pity, and about how silence had become her closest companion. Ethan didn't flinch. He just listened. Really listened, in a way no one else had. Somewhere between dessert and laughter, the truth began to sneak closer. A waiter approached, holding a phone. "Miss Windsor, your father is on the line," he said politely. "He wanted to confirm that your date arrived safely." Clara blinked. "My father?" She looked at Ethan, confusion rising. "Wait, are you—" Before she could finish, Ethan's phone buzzed. A text popped up. "Sophie, from Blind Date Plus. I've been waiting 40 minutes. Did you ditch me?" His stomach dropped. The silence that followed was unbearable. Clara's expression shifted, not to anger but shock. "You're not my date, are you?" Ethan's face burned red. I'm so sorry. I thought—" He stood up, stammering apologies, fumbling to grab his jacket. "I didn't mean to. I thought you were someone else. But Clara stopped him. Her hand reached across the table, trembling slightly. "No, don't go yet!" Ethan froze. "I don't remember the last time I laughed like this," she said softly. "Even if it was a mistake. Thank you for tonight." He looked at her, really looked. And something inside him changed. Maybe it was her courage. Maybe it was the way she smiled, despite everything she'd lost. That night, when he walked out of the restaurant into the cold air, Ethan didn't know that he had just met the woman who would change his life. Days passed. He couldn't stop thinking about her. Not the wheelchair, not the wealth, but her. The way she listened. The way her eyes lit up when she forgot to be afraid. Meanwhile, Clara couldn't stop thinking about the mechanic with grease-stained hands and the softest heart she'd ever known. Everyone around her, doctors, assistants, her father, treated her like glass. But Ethan saw her like fire. Her father, of course, disapproved when he found out who Ethan was. Richard Windsor was a man who had built an empire from steel and money. And he wasn't about to let a poor mechanic steal his daughters. "Attention! Stay away from her!" he warned Ethan when they met face to face. "You have no idea what kind of life she deserves." Ethan met his gaze. "Maybe not. But I know she deserves someone who sees her, not just the chair." Clara overheard, and that was the moment she knew her life was about to change, whether her father liked it or not. In the weeks that followed, Ethan helped her rebuild more than confidence. He fixed up her old car, modified it so she could drive again using custom hand controls. When she sat behind the wheel for the first time since her accident, tears rolled down her cheeks. "I didn't think I'd ever feel this free again," she whispered. Ethan smiled. "You just needed someone to believe. You still could, but every story that begins with hope faces its test. When the media caught wind of their friendship, the CEO's paralyzed daughter, seen with a poor mechanic, scandal broke. Clara's father was furious. He threatened to shut down Ethan's small shop, cancel his supplier contracts, ruin everything. Ethan could have fought, but instead he walked away. For her. He left a note. "You deserve peace, Clara, even if it means I lose mine." For weeks, she didn't hear from him. But one morning, she received a message from her father's office. "We've received a design proposal from Cole Mechanics, adaptive car systems for the disabled." Ethan had poured his heart into a new invention, a modified driving system designed for wheelchair users, built from scraps, hope, and his dream to help others like Clara. When Richard saw the design, even he couldn't deny its brilliance, and when Clara rolled into his office and said, "Approve it, or I'll fund it myself," he finally realized this wasn't about charity. It was love, courage, and innovation. Months later, at a press event, Ethan and Clara stood side by side launching their new project together, Freedom Drive. Cameras flashed, questions flew, but all Ethan saw was her smile. "Funny," she whispered, "how sitting at the wrong table gave us the right beginning." He chuckled, eyes soft. "Guess some mistakes are meant to happen." As the audience applauded, she reached for his hand. "You fix more than cars, Ethan. You fixed me." He smiled, squeezing her fingers gently. "No, Clara, you just needed a tune-up." The engine was always strong, and somewhere between laughter and love, they both learned that sometimes fate doesn't get it wrong, it just takes the long way around to make things right.